That's right. This year's NFL report cards have been released. Let's go. All right, so the surveys were conducted from August 26th through November 20th with 1,695 players participating, which averages out to almost 53 players from each team. The grades range from A+ to F-, with the owner having a 15% weight, head coach having a 10% weight, and the rest of the categories: treatment of families, food and dining area, nutritionist, locker room, training room, training staff, weight room, strength coaches, and team travel are all at 9% weight. All right, let's go through these by overall ranking, starting with number 1. And I just have one or two things to say about these. I don't have a whole paragraph about each one. Number 1, Miami Dolphins. They stay put at number 1 from last year. Dolphins are number 1 for the second year in a row. A's across the board, except at QB, where they got a C, a T, and an E. Pretty easy to score high when you're in Miami. In their overview, it says they don't grade the locker room, yet it's clearly listed in the categories that are graded. Number 2, Minnesota Vikings. Stay put from number 2 last year. Their only gripe is wanting a larger variety of food in the facility. Are they finally tired of the fridges full of Uncrustables? I think the fact that I'll retain from this one is that their owner's name is Ziggy Wilf. That's probably the coolest name for an owner. Z-Dubs. Z-Dubs sounds like something Buffalo Wild Wings might try to rebrand to. Hey kids, come on down to Z-Dubs. We're totally cool and not out of touch at all. Z-Dubs. Number 3, Atlanta Falcons, up 22 from number 25. The Falcons ranked 3rd overall despite a ventilation issue in the locker room that seems to cause a persistent odor. That isn't going to change until the team stops stinking it up on the field. It's like the Falcons are SpongeBob and the stink from the locker room is the maniac. Falcons, I see him.
Where is he, Patrick?
At the intersection of Conch and Coral.
That's where I am. He's right on top of me, but I can't see him. What's he doing?
He's just standing there.
Stinkingly. Number 4, Las Vegas Raiders, up 5 from number 9. The Raiders rank extremely high in all categories with almost no complaints besides needing more parking passes for their families. There isn't an employee-family parking lot. Maybe the team is in a cycle of mediocrity because they just got rid of their A- coach. Pete Carroll should do a fine job, though. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Number 5, Los Angeles Chargers, up 25 from number 30. The Chargers made the biggest jump from last year, going from 30th all the way up to 5th, thanks to a new training facility. Replacing Brandon Staley with Harbaugh only upped the head coach grade from B to B+, with more players saying he's less receptive to feedback than Staley, and only 55% of players felt he was efficient with their time. How is that a B+? Does Harbaugh have Connor Stallions on these rankings somehow? For context, the Giants and Bucks both have a B+ for their head coach. Brian Daboll is at 90% efficient with their time, and Todd Bowles is at 100% efficiency with their time. Hell, his own brother got a B and is at 75%. Number 6, Houston Texans, up 1 from 7. The post-game family area is outdoors in Houston in August and September. They have a whole dome and they can't gather their family in there after games? What, do they have a hard out? Is Energy Stadium booking shows right after football games? This is also where teams start to get cheap. And don't put some of the largest men in the country in first class for every flight. Number 7, Green Bay Packers, down 4 from number 3. The first team to drop is the Packers, and I think that's more so because of the other teams getting newer, fancier stuff more recently. Going from 3 to 7 isn't bad. The weight room is lacking, but that's not the only WR that's in need of some improvement in Green Bay. Number 8, San Francisco 49ers, down 2 from number 6. The 49ers are the first one on the list to charge for childcare. But why? Do they need to go through a third party? Are the carers not employed by the team? At first, I kind of really cared and was almost offended on their behalf. But then I saw they're charging $40 per kid for daycare during games. Are they really complaining about $40? Stop having so many damn kids. Even then, you need 10 for it to even cost $400. I thought this was some year-long thing where you had to pay thousands of dollars in lump sum for the entire year. And no. It's like $320 to $360 depending on if you have 8 or 9 home games. A lot of these players are willing to catch a $7,000 fine for throwing the ball into the stands, but they're not willing to pay $40 for their child to be taken care of? What? Their showers and saunas also break frequently. Next. Number 9, Detroit Lions, up 4 from number 13. The only thing the overview had as a negative at the beginning was that the lockers are outdated, yet 75% of them felt they had enough room in their own locker, and 94% of them agreed that the locker room as a whole was big enough. Maybe they're just old lockers? Some of these rankings don't make sense. Number 10, Dallas Cowboys, up 2 from number 12. Jerry must be paying these guys to give good answers. How in the hell did he get a B? Much like the Raiders, their head coach got an A and was let go to end the year. I know that we, the entirety of the football world, love to hate Mike McCarthy, but the players seem to actually love him. A third of the players reported ongoing plumbing issues, so maybe now that McCarthy is gone, the problem will be solved. I bet he laid some fat cow patties in the halls of Jerry World. Number 11, Washington Commanders, up 21 from number 32. It's not surprising that the Commanders made a big leap, but I'm surprised it wasn't the biggest leap. The upgrades that made the most difference this year were adding daycare and switching from Ron Rivera to Dan Quinn. Players really seem hesitant to rank the head coach lower than a C, and that's what Rivera got last year. A+ for Dan Quinn this year. That's first out of all coaches. Dan Snyder must be fuming. Number 12, New Orleans Saints, up 7 from number 19. Speaking of terrible owners, you know this ownership would get an F- from me. But their head coach got fired halfway through the season, and he still got a B+. If you didn't believe me about Rivera only getting a C, you should now. The dining area is what really hit them hard with the D-. They still haven't converted it back into a cafeteria after turning it into a hideout where they sheltered the pedo priest of the New Orleans Archdiocese. No mole sauce in that dining hall, just the sauce as a result of molesting. Number 13, Baltimore Ravens, up 2 from number 15. From the overview. Once again, the Baltimore Ravens finish in the middle of the pack with no significant weaknesses. It seems the team provides a very solid workplace environment for their players. They're doing the best they can for being in Baltimore. That surrounding area by the stadium can get a little dicey if you stray a little bit too far. This might be Baltimore's peak ranking. Number 14, Chicago Bears, up 4. Number 14, Chicago Bears, down 4 from number 10. The overview straight up says that the report cards are what got Matt Eberflus fired, and that is hilarious. After the team completed the survey, the Bears terminated Eberflus and hired Ben Johnson as their new head coach. That is brutal. And he's still got a C. Why are players not willing to go lower than that? I'm starting to wonder if coaches can even get under a C. 59% of players felt Eberflus was efficient with their time. How does Harbaugh have a lower efficiency? What? Was he having stroke symptoms during meetings and spacing out? Like, what? How did Harbaugh get a B+ with 55%? That is baffling me. Number 15, Seattle Seahawks, down 1 from number 14. The Seahawks' biggest complaint was not having a big enough tub room. I think it's funny to picture 2 of their biggest guys trying to squeeze into one ice bath. More tubs are on their way next year. Number 16, Tennessee Titans, up 2 from number 18. After hiring Ainsley Moore as Director of Player and Family Affairs, the Titans went from a D+ to a B+ in the treatment of their families. Maybe Harrison Butker was right. Leave it to a woman to deal with the family. Number 17, Denver Broncos, down 1 from number 16. Much in the way that Houston needs an indoor family space, the Broncos need one to keep families away from the cold and weed smoke. The main complaint was their locker room, and I must not get it because I looked up a picture and it looked like every other NFL locker room that I've ever seen. Number 18, Jacksonville Jaguars, down 13 from number 5. The Jags said, fuck your family. You can get them in and get them on the sideline by yourself if you can afford it. They are one of 10 teams to not have any type of family room. 57% of the players felt like Peterson was efficient with their time. Eberflus and Peterson were both fired, so Harbaugh should probably watch out if he doesn't win a playoff game. This is if he doesn't retire from medical issues first. When nearly half the players think you're wasting their time, change is imminent. Number 19, Indianapolis Colts, up 3 from 22. The Colts are the first team on the list to have the players fly coach and the coaches fly first class. The players should ride the coaches to away games and see how they feel afterwards. Number 20, New York Giants, down 12 from number 8. John Mara is what really tanked them from 8 to 20, going from a B+ to a C+. And maybe the nutrition? I think there is not a whole lot of separation in these rankings, and something like ownership going down a letter grade being weighted so heavily will probably tank your ranking. Well, Mara certainly deserves it after getting rid of Saquon and killing off Hard Knocks. Number 21, Los Angeles Rams, down 1 from 20. It's really hard to build nice permanent facilities when there's a real chance of them burning down. From the overview, the Rams have been in temporary facilities the past 9 years with no clear timeline of the construction for a permanent facility. Rams players have to pay for daycare as well, but are better off dropping their kids down the road in San Francisco, where it is $35 less for the first child and $10 less for each subsequent one. If this was the NBA, this next piece of information might just be damning. The team won't relay information to baby mamas. You have to be a significant other to get any information on the child. All right, number 22, Philadelphia Eagles down 18 from number 4. The Eagles dropped 18 spots in the middle of a Super Bowl winning season. What? The furthest drop of any team. They are one of only 3 teams without daycare services, but they do have a family room to make up with it. They gave Howie Roseman a B? Eagles, what are you smoking? Again, though, the players not getting first-class seats doesn't make any sense. Number 23, Buffalo Bills, down 12 from number 11. Even the auxiliary staff flies first class with the Bills, but still no players. Nearly all the things on the Bills report card were brought up last year, but none of it was addressed by Terry Pegula, the owner of the team. This isn't the Sabres, Terry. Pay up. Number 24, Cincinnati Bengals, up 2 from number 26. How are they not 32nd? The Bengals said, hide your kids, hide your wife, and don't bring them to the stadium. They are the only team without a daycare facility or a family room. One of only 2 teams to not provide 3 meals a day, and their nutritionist is only available 2 days out of the week because the Bengals won't hire her as a full-time employee. Dead last in 3 categories with a C in ownership, which is ranked 25th. How? And up 2 spots? Huh? Are these last 8 teams really that bad? No, I don't think so. Number 25, Carolina Panthers, down 8 from number 17. David Tepper graded out as a D- and is in serious contention for the worst owner in the league. 29th in perceived willingness to invest in team facilities, 31st in providing a positive culture, and players feel he is somewhat committed to building a competitive team, putting him dead last, 32 of 32. When you get into fights with fans, this isn't surprising. What is surprising is the Panthers are ranked ahead of the Chiefs. Number 26, Kansas City Chiefs, up 5 from number 31 last year. You would think that back-to-back Super Bowl champions would get better accommodation for home games than the Best Western Plus in the Kansas City Sports Complex. You could plop this beauty on the boardwalk in Ocean City, Maryland, and it would fit right in. Players said they often kept their shoes on in the room because the floors are dirty and sticky. A Best Western is a Best Western. The word plus is doing no lifting there. This is why I'm going through these one by one, for gold nuggets like that. All right, number 27, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, down 3 from number 24. The persistent issue with these teams at the bottom seems to be their owners. That, and nearly half the players in Tampa reported there being plumbing issues and poor ventilation leading to a persistent bad smell. Pirates smell bad. Get used to it. Number 28, Pittsburgh Steelers. Stay put at number 28 from last year. The Steelers were the only team whose ranking didn't change outside of the top 2, and that's impressive. Consistently made the Steelers' way. It's not surprising that they think Rooney is cheap, since they still practice at St. Vincent College. They don't even have their own practice facility. But honestly, in Pittsburgh, where would they put it? There's no room for anything. Number 29, New York Jets, down 8 from number 21. Apparently, Woody Johnson made things worse for the team after they turned in their report cards. It says, for example here, he didn't retain their highest rated staff member, who was their dietitian, and he's now thriving in Kansas City, making the best goddamn waffles in that Best Western hot lobby. Maybe Woody Johnson's the worst owner in the league. He ranked 32nd in every category besides the one Tepper led, where he was 31st. The carpet Joe Namath walked on is still in the locker room, for God's sake. Number 30, Cleveland Browns, down 7 from number 23. The Browns complain that the training room is short-staffed, but that's only because they have to keep the numbers down for potential Deshaun Watson victims. The players meet their families under a tent in the parking lot, while coaches meet their families inside after games, like rounding them up on a farm and putting them in a pen. Jesus. No wonder Myles Garrett wants out. All right, number 31, New England Patriots, down 2 from number 29. The Pats got an F in the weight room and team travel, and a D for ownership. This is quite possibly the second most egregious quip on all the report cards. There is no Wi-Fi and there are still ashtrays in the armrest of the Patriots plane. You know what? I criticized Mayo instead of reviewing film with the other coaches after their post-bye week loss to Arizona. But maybe he just couldn't. That's an angle that I never thought of. You know what? Complain all you want, but the Air Force 12 is all reliable. I don't want to hear any bitching. I don't want to hear any moaning when your plane falls out of the sky or rolls over on the tarmac. I don't want to hear any of it. They're building a new training facility with an emphasis on the weight room, and Kraft is making all the right decisions so far to improve the team. So I am hoping that we at least end up in the top half of the rankings next year. And last but not least, number 32, the Arizona Cardinals, down 5 for number 27. Arizona sitting at the bottom of the lobby with Kyler behind the sticks. He had to have been part of that 24% that said the locker room was an adequate size. For the most part, everything needs to be upgraded, and the players think the owner stinks, leading them to dead last. So really, it seems to be nice new facilities that really drive the rankings. Owner is weighted the heaviest on the report card, so I think a lot of the players associate new facilities with the owners being willing to spend. I think the Commanders have a real shot to be number one whenever their new stadium is built if they keep this up. The only other thing that I got out of this is that no weight room has enough space whatsoever. All right, that took a bit, but that was fun. I like doing that. Hell yeah, let's make that a yearly thing.